This week for our player interview, we have another very special guest, this time a member of what John Carroll calls the Special Forces, member of the special teams for the Blue Streaks. Senior holder, also serves as a kicker as well, Clayton Anderson. Clayton, thanks so much for stopping by. How's everything going today?
It's going well. Thanks so much for having me. I'm glad to be here.
Absolutely. So first, we're going to get started, a bit of a throwback to your high school days. You were named Honorable Mention All-Ohio in football at St. Charles in Columbus. Was this as a kicker or punter? And you also played football and baseball there. So how did playing both prepare you for your John Carroll career?
Yeah, so it was actually as a punter. Unfortunately, our high school team wasn't the best, so we were on the field a lot punting. And I didn't actually start punting until senior year. So I was very surprised to get that honor because I didn't necessarily have the best hang time or distance, but the amount of punts I racked up and the field position change we had, I was lucky enough to get that. And then going back, helping me with baseball and football, being busy 24/7 in high school and all throughout my life actually playing sports and doing other things like Boy Scouts has really helped me with my time management skills, and also from a leadership standpoint and being on a team aspect, just knowing your job. So translating that into college, football, whatever sport you play, it's a year-round job. So definitely making sure my priorities are set straight, knowing how to be a team player and do what I can to help the team. All that helped me throughout high school at the next level.
So it sounds like it definitely gave you a foundation for the discipline needed to be playing college football. Taking a look, besides football, you also work with myself for the John Carroll University Sports Information Department as well. So how does this help you in terms of football?
This is something I love. I got into this sophomore year. So the late Chris Wensler, I actually reached out to him because I love sports and I wanted to work in the sports industry at some point in my life, whether or not it's a career, but definitely something on the side. And when I talked to Noah Tyluki, GA for Sports Info, who helps film for the football team, basically he just set me up with him. I was able to get in contact, and I was able to work so many sports, and I did everything from statistical input to history, looking up when I work in the office, to production and broadcasting. And then helping me with football, I know everybody on the team now. A lot of teammates text me after games saying, hey, can you have Joe change this or change that, look into that. So it's kind of cool to have people reach out to me since I'm the only one on the football team right now playing that helps out with sports information. And then also, even when it gets to picture time, I can look at pictures of people and send them to them when I'm in the office. Looking if I need to change anything simple, it's always easy for guys just to text me rather than go up top to Joe.
That's very cool. And it really shows, all the media coverage and everything that goes into covering all the games, right?
Yeah, it's so much more than I thought. As a freshman, when I'm just didn't even play much football and I'm following along with the sports, there's tweets every single second. There's stories coming out. When I was blessed enough to get that job and work in the office, I wrote some articles for them, anything from even looking up how to do stats, and I realized what goes into a college atmosphere with sports, even at the D3 level. I mean, we take it very seriously here at John Carroll, and we do a great job, especially compared to other schools I followed. So it's something I love and something I treasure.
So now we're going to kind of move on to the football field once again. So which do you like the most? Do you like kicking, punting, or holding? Because we have seen you listed in all three of those roles, and why?
I'll say at first, at least going back to high school, it's always kicking. You always get a chance to make some big-time kicks. I was fortunate enough to have a game winner against a rival of mine, so that was something I always like. And just being out on the field when everybody's watching you. And then coming to college, I really tried to focus more on my punting. Obviously, I don't start. I'm behind a great starter, Andy, same grade as me. But it's still something I take pride in, always making sure I get returners practice every day they can. And now coming into a role as a holder, when you're on a football team with 100-plus people and you have a lot of people right at your position, thing I like to tell people is you got to adapt and you got to adjust. Find something you can to help the team, and that's something I experienced last year. As I said, all right, well, we got a lot of kickers, and if I can start holding, I can do a great job at that. And it gets me on the field. It also gets me practicing with them 24/7 in our corner, since we don't practice with the regular team a lot of the time. We're on our side, so. At this point, I would say holding, just because it's me doing my job and I love helping out any way I can.
And speaking of, being with a lot of different players on the team, what's that relationship like with the special forces, as they're called for the Blue Streaks, both on and off the field?
Personally, me with all the other specialists, it's great. We have a great bond with everybody. We have a group chat that's always flowing with jokes and whatnot. Outside the field, we always see each other. Inside, we work out together, so it's great like that. And even with different position groups, I mean, sometimes people would josh with you because you're a kicker or whatever. You don't put as much work in, but we're still working out with them. We're still on the field every single time, and they know that we can still do our job. We have a heck of amount of great kickers and punters out there. If someone needs to be called upon, they can do it, and everybody trusts us. So even the locker room aspect with all the other position groups is great, and I feel like we are able to build a bond with everybody.
That's very nice to hear, and it definitely seems like, the rest of the team does really appreciate all that the special teams does, because that's usually an aspect of the game that doesn't get as much love as, the offense or the defense. But when it matters most, special teams is who the team's going to be relying upon.
Yeah, that's one thing Coach Finati always emphasizes, that we're going to win or lose a game with our special teams, whether it's a big kickoff return, pinning someone inside the 10 for field position on a punt, or hitting a big-time kick. It's always something that's important, so we got to focus on it in all aspects of the game.
And now kind of talking about you personally for special teams, do you have a favorite kicker or punter that you've watched, and if so, why?
So professionally, I would say for sure kicker, Justin Tucker, just because I love the way he approaches the game. I love the amount of energy he gets into every single kick, and he even has a little bit of a hitch when he does his field goals, if you watch. So he just made a 66-yarder the other day, NFL record, and he had a little bit of a hitch to it to get more to it. So you just see all those little things change here and here out. And then for punter, I'll say all special teams. My next one was Pat McAfee. I'm a big listener of the Pat McAfee Show. I followed him now for 5-10 years, and funny guy. He knows what he's talking about, and now everybody, almost all NFL analysts, know who he is. And now when games go on, there was more of an emphasis on punting, pinning someone, kickoff, things like that. And that's something I enjoy, because even though in high school I played other positions, I started kicking since 8th grade, and it's really now my nick. I played now for 9 years in that position. So that's someone else I love to listen to and see his insights, because it is a huge part of the game, and he's given a even bigger insight, into the role of special teams that it plays.
And talking a bit more about yourself, for those of you who tune into last week's game, and also to those of you who may not have, Clayton had a pretty big play near the end of the game. He took an errant snap on an extra point, grabbed it, threw up a prayer to tight end Tadas Tadarunas, and he hauled it in for a 2-point conversion. So you had that first career 2-point conversion pass on Saturday. Awesome to see. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Take me through it. What went through your mind on that play?
Yeah, so the day before, actually, we just practiced a poison drill. Poison drill, bad snap, roll out, throw it to someone in the end zone. We practiced that through walkthroughs the day before. For some reason, waking up, I'm like, oh, maybe something will happen. You never know. So really what happened with that play, my job, get the ball down quick, we get the points. That's the main thing. I was happy to have that, but you honestly never want to see that. You never want to see a bad snap or something. But right away, I knew that I wasn't be able to get it down, so I just screamed, poison, poison, poison. I roll out to my right, and at first I don't think anybody heard me, and there's like 2 or 3 guys in my face. And watching the film, I ran backwards a little bit, and I'm thinking in my head, right when it's happening, I'm like, all right, someone's got to turn around. And I just see Tadas' hands, and he's one of the tallest guys on our field. That's the guy we throw to in that play. And I just threw it up right before I get tackled or bent down. And I didn't know he was going to catch it. Honestly, I just threw it up. I'm like, all right, I have a decent arm. It's only like, 10-yard throw. It should be able to get there. It barely did, luckily. But I hear everybody cheering right when I put my head up, and I'm just like, all right, that's pretty sick. I got to throw in a college game, so that's something I can say.
And that was definitely awesome to see. Right after you made the play, saw you guys all running around and the sidelines jumping. It was just nice to see that, everybody, even it's late in the game, you guys had a decent-sized lead, but, what did that mean, seeing all your teammates jumping up and, patting you on the helmet and all that, just all that excitement for a 2-point conversion play?
Yeah, honestly, it felt great just because everyone's still engaged in the game, and they show that anything can happen and we get the job done. I think the main thing was that even when stuff like that happens, when there's a bad snap or you can't get the ball down, that we can still somehow make a play. I know the score, it didn't impact the game at all, but at the end of the day, if we go down the road and we got a close game and something like that does tend to happen again, people will have more faith, and then hopefully in the future we can just keep on practicing and get everything done that we need to. But it was really great to see everybody excited, and all my buddies come out there.
And would you say that that's probably your favorite John Carroll football memory, either on or off the field, or?
I would say it was probably my favorite one on the field. just because of the outcome of the game also. Last year when I kicked off versus Mount, I had a solo tackle that felt pretty cool, but unfortunately the result wasn't there, so I don't really try to think about that one as much. But for sure on the field, that's probably the biggest moment I've had. Off the field, probably just locker room with the guys, being in touch with everybody and getting close.
That's awesome. So now we're going to kind of shift off the field once again. So at the moment, what are your plans, maybe after you graduate here?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I'm a supply chain and marketing major right now. Currently, I have an internship at a company called Battelle, so I'm still working there throughout the year. My plans after college is hopefully to get a job in either logistics or purchasing, whether it's at Battelle or another company. I don't know what city I'll be in yet, but I'm really excited for the possibility of being in a different place than where I grew up or even Cleveland. And I'm just excited about everything that awaits for me within the next steps. One thing that John Carroll always says is 4 for 40. Your next 4 years here are going to prepare you for your 40 years, and I take that to heart, and I'm really excited to see what is in store for me.
John Carroll, holder and kicker Clayton Anderson is our guest. So next, what do you enjoy doing when you're not on the field?
When I'm not on the field, one of the biggest things I enjoy doing is probably watching sports, honestly. I love sports. I've grown up around sports my whole life, whether it's NFL football, MLB baseball, even college football. That's what I love doing. Other than that, I'm a tour guide now on campus, so I love giving tours to people when I'm given the chance to. That's something I like a lot. And then also, when my schedule permits, working the John Carroll sporting events. John Carroll is a great community. Sports information is unmatched against any other in the OAC, and that's something I love to do whenever I get a chance.
That's very cool to hear. So now we're going to kind of transition into our last segment here. It's a bit of a rapid fire, so you're not going to be timed or anything, but it's just going to be a lot of quick questions just to help everybody get to know you a bit better. Are you ready?
Sounds good.
Okay, here we go. Favorite food?
Chinese food.
How about your favorite show?
Seinfeld.
I'm a huge Seinfeld fan myself. That's awesome. Favorite movie?
The Miracle on Ice.
It's got to be a very powerful message in that one. Favorite musician?
Probably Luke Combs right now or Morgan Wallen.
How about your favorite book?
Ooh. Honestly, I don't know if I have one. There's a lot of good ones out there. I would say, though, Tony Dungy books. He has a couple good biographies out there. I always like reading those.
Awesome. How about your favorite current football player?
Current football player, I'm going to say TJ Watt.
And how about your favorite all-time?
All-time, Troy Polamalu for sure.
And there was no hesitation there. Yeah. One of our favorite players of last week's guest, Nate Leopold, as well. So finally, the last one, what's one word to describe your game?
Confidence, I would say. Just making sure, my job just get the hold down. I know I practice it 50 to 100 times a day, so every time I go out there, I have the best confidence in the world that we're going to get it done.
Alrighty. Well, it sounds like that is a great mindset to have, and hopefully you can keep on putting that into motion as the season goes on. So that is just about going to do it here for our Week 5 interview with John Carroll kicker and holder Clayton Anderson. Clayton, thanks so much for stopping by, and best of luck this week.
Yes, thank you for having me.